After consolidating for nearly 3 months, does the SPY now have the momentum it needs to break to new all-time highs? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to High Quality Trades, where we go over simple support and resistance levels, trendline breaks, and pattern formations. And I go over any bullish or bearish divergences on my dynamic flow indicator. So in today's video, we will be going over the SPY, the QQQs, all of the fateful 8 mega cap stocks, AMD, Snowflake, and AFRM stock. So let's start this video off here on the SPY's 4-hour time frame. So today is February 5th. The most recent close of the SPY was 604.22. Today it reached a high of 604.37 and a low of 598.58. We were positive 0.41% on the day. Alrighty guys, so what's the SPY currently doing? So it looks like today we gapped down below our 599 support level, but we found support at the 200 period moving average here on the 4-hour time frame. And then from that point on, we broke above our resistance level here of 599. And then we even, towards the end of the day, broke above the 602 resistance level. Now it looks like we ended the day in aftermarket trading here at 604.70. So come tomorrow, what I would be expecting from the SPY, if we are able to stay above the 602 level, then it's possible that we'll head up towards 609.13. But if for some reason we get some pressure from the bears and they start to push price lower tomorrow, our first support level's here at 602, but if that level breaks, we'll have support down here at 599. And then if we get some really bearish momentum coming into the market, it is possible that we can head all the way down towards 595. To get a better idea of where the market is headed tomorrow and Friday, let's now drop down into the 15-minute time frame, and we'll go over our 200 period moving average. So currently the bulls have made it above the 200 period moving average here on the 15-minute, which is a bullish signal for price to continue moving higher. As long as we remain above the 200, this thing will start to slope upwards and start supporting the buyers. So what I would be expecting tomorrow is maybe get a slight pullback, something like this, before we push higher. But we could even fall all the way towards the 602 support level before then pushing on higher. If for some reason we fall below the 200 period moving average here, that would be a bearish signal for price to then continue falling lower. And then as we remain below the 200, it'll eventually start to slope downwards and support the bears. The RSI here on the 15-minute time frame has been diverging from price. So this is a bearish signal that come tomorrow morning, we may open up down around the 200, the 602 level. But once these bearish divergences resolve themselves by heading back down towards the 0 line or the 50 line on the RSI, then the SPY can turn around and head back up. Alright, that's it for the SPY. Let's now go on to the QQQs. We'll go out onto the 4-hour time frame. So the triple Q's gapped down to support here at 520 today, and then we pushed on higher. We broke above at the end of the day our 526 resistance level. Looks like we've ended the day up here at 527. So if the triple Qs are able to hold above this 526 resistance level, and then maybe back test it on as support, the next level of resistance will be up here at 531. And then if we're able to break above that level, it is possible we head up towards our upper weekly expected move, which is here at 535. But if for some reason the triple Qs cannot hold above the 526 level, then the bears might push price all the way down towards the 520 level again. And then if that can't hold, we'd head down towards 516. And any further bearish price momentum could send us falling down towards the lower weekly expected move, which is here around 509. Now, to get a better idea of where the market's headed tomorrow and Friday, let's now drop down into the 15-minute time frame, and then let's go over the 200 period moving average. So the bulls were successful in making it above the 200 period moving average through most of the day. So the longer we remain above our 200 period moving average here, it will start to slope upwards and then support the buyers. So any pullback we get should be met with bullish momentum and the bulls stepping up, pushing price higher. So even if we drop below our support level here at 526, the bulls should step up at some point here between where we are now and the 200 period moving average, and then push price back up either to the 526 level or through it, and then up towards 531. But let's say we, for some reason, fall back below the 200 period moving average here, and then the triple Qs cannot hold this 520 support level. Well, then we'll head down towards 516 as support, and then we could head down towards that lower weekly expected move. Some divergences here on the 15-minute that may contribute to a gap down in the morning are the highs not matching here on the RSI, while throughout the better part of today we were making higher highs. So this may result in a gap down tomorrow morning, but then I would expect the bulls, minus some bearish news in the market, to step up and push price back up. Alright, that's going to be it for the triple Qs. Let's move on to Apple. Then we'll stay on the 4-hour time frame from here on out. So Apple actually had a bullish divergence here on the RSI, which contributed to a nice push higher today. But between the lows here that we got on Monday and then the lows from pre-market today, we actually had matching lows. But the RSI had made a low and a higher low. So that contributed to some bullish divergence. And then Apple was able to rise in price. So now that Apple has found support at the 226 support level, I'd like to see Apple come up here and test the 237 level as resistance. And then if it's able to get above that, it could head up towards 240 as the next resistance level. Again, these are the levels for the next 2 days here on Apple. So if for some reason we get a gap down, or just the bears step in tomorrow and push price lower, I'd expect this 226 level to try to hold as support. But if, say, the bears are able to push price through this level, then I think we'd have support here at this ascending trend line can see we have a touch point here and a touch point here, and then actually we found support just recently at this trend line as well. So it's quite possible that it would be a good support level if Apple breaks through the 226 level. Okay, so that's it for Apple. Let's move on to Meta. So being that Meta is approaching its upper weekly expected move, so if the bears step in here and push price lower, looks like we'll have some support around the 681 level. But if we were to fall any lower than that, I would expect the upper ascending trend line of this rising wedge to hold as support. I do notice some bearish divergence here on the 4-hour between these highs here, and then we have pretty much matching highs here. So actually this is bearish divergence, and it is foreshadowing a drop here on Meta going into Thursday and Friday. Alright, let's go on to Amazon. So Amazon actually has earnings after hours tomorrow, and after a slight bearish divergence between last week's high and the high that it made yesterday, if we look down here at the RSI, we pretty much just have matching highs. So that's actually a little bit of bearish divergence that probably contributed to Amazon's fall today. So Amazon right now has found support at 235. So if it's able to hold this level, I would expect Amazon to head back up and try to test these highs again, which is up here at 242. But if Amazon falls below the 235 support level, then I'd expect it to fall down towards 229. I believe Amazon on the daily time frame is showing some bullish divergence between the lows in price here. So this low of this candle, and then where we're currently at. Well, the RSI has actually fallen below the previous low here. So this is actually some bullish divergence on the daily time frame that could result in Amazon actually rising on its earnings come tomorrow. So not a prediction, but based on that, the RSI being lower than the previous low here, that has a high likelihood of resulting in a bullish movement. Okay, let's move on to Google. So after Google's earnings, it's fallen all the way below the 193 support level. We've actually fallen back into our pennant pattern here. So we're currently also finding support at this lower trend line of this pennant. Looks like we are also finding support at the 200 period moving average here on the 4-hour time frame. So let's go over if the bulls step in on Google and push price higher. So if we get back above this 193 resistance level, I'd expect Google to head up towards 197. A bearish scenario would be if Google can't hold above the 193 support resistance level and we start breaking below this trend line here, I'd expect Google to fall down towards 188. And then if Google can't hold 188, it could head down towards 185, sorry. Alright, that's going to be it for Google. Let's now head on to Microsoft. So Microsoft is still holding above its support level here at 410. So it is a slightly bullish signal that we could get a bounce coming soon here on Microsoft. We are just coming out of the oversold territory, but we are heading back into the neutral area of the RSI. So if the bulls step up here on Microsoft and start pushing price higher, I'd expect it to come up here and try to break this high here, which is around the 420 area, 421 area. And then if Microsoft was able to get above that level, I think it would try to head up here towards 430. So those would be the next resistance levels here on Microsoft. But let's say Microsoft ends up breaking below the 410 level, well then it'd fall down towards 405. And if it broke 405, it could head down towards 400. Alrighty, let's move on to NVDA. So NVDA, after showing some bullish divergence between the lows here from last Monday and this Monday, but then the RSI made a low and a higher low. So that's actually resulted in a push higher here on NVIDIA. We came up here to test our descending trend line, and after hours trading we actually did break above it. But I will say the RSI has reached into the overbought level, and it looks like we now have some bearish divergence between this high and this high, and then this high and the high here. So we have a high and a lower high, but the RSI has made a high and a higher high. So we now have some bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. That may mean that this trend line here is going to hold as resistance, at least for a short period of time, and NVIDIA will head back down towards the 120 level. Then if NVIDIA can't hold 120, it'll head down towards this trend line here that has a few touch points from here and here, which just like Apple has recently found support, NVIDIA has recently found support here. But I would say if this trend line breaks, that would spell disaster here on NVIDIA. Then we'd head down towards 115, and then we could even head much lower down to 100. So okay, let's move on to Netflix. So Netflix actually broke out of this flag pattern or pennant pattern here and has gone and made a new high today. So after breaking out of this upper, breaking through this upper descending trend line, we've gone and retested the highs and actually broke above. No, not really. Well, there is a divergence between the all-time highs here and here. So we may get a drop here on Netflix tomorrow, but I would expect it only to drop back into this consolidation area before it found support. So maybe somewhere around the 989 level, or it could just, come back and retest this upper descending trend line before pushing higher. Alrighty, let's move on to Tesla. Tesla is still struggling. It looks like with today's bearish price action, we broke below the 380 support level, and it looks like we're headed down towards 364. Would be the next support level. But if Tesla manages to find support at this level and the bulls step in, we could head back up towards 380. If 380 broke, we'd head back up towards 392. So let's move on. AMD. So after AMD's fall from their earnings report last night, AMD actually created a bullish divergence on the RSI with a high and a higher high with a low and a higher low, but price has made a low and a lower low. So this is actually some bullish divergence, which has resulted in a push higher after their earnings. So it looks like we've actually broken back into our falling wedge pattern here. And with any luck, AMD should head up towards the 113 resistance level. And if it breaks above that, then AMD can head up towards the 116 level. And then it'd be meeting, and then it would meet some resistance here at this descending trend line of the upper level of the falling wedge. But if it was able to break through that, that would be a bullish signal. The price would then head up, fill this gap, head up towards 132 and higher. So that would be bullish if AMD was able to break out of this falling wedge. If for any reason AMD gets up to the 113 level but can't break above it, then we'd fall back down towards this lower descending trend line of the falling wedge. Then we could even go and retest the lows if the bears step in here on AMD. Alrighty, let's go on to Snowflake. Snowflake stock is in a cup and handle pattern that I went over in my last video. We've actually broke to the upside now, and a full measured move of this cup and handle actually put Snowflake up here around the 217 level. So if bullish price momentum continues here on Snowflake, that is where I'm looking for price to head up towards. I would say AMD at least, or I'd say Snowflake at least needs to stay above the 188 level to continue moving higher. Alrighty, let's move on to AFRM, our last one. So AFRM actually has earnings tomorrow after hours, but with today's price action, I'm leaning more bullish. I do believe on the weekly time frame we have some bullish divergence. Actually, it's called hidden bullish divergence, because this low here and this low here is not matching. So if I draw a trend line from here to here, we have a low and a higher low, but price has actually made a low and a lower low. But the RSI has actually made a low and a lower low. So that's known as hidden bullish divergence. And I believe it will result in a push higher. But so not only do we have that bullish divergence on the RSI, we're breaking our trend line here, which is another bullish signal that a firm should at least head up towards the 680 resistance level. And then if it's able to break above that, it could head up towards the $73 level. But if for some reason that a firm, this is just a fake out, then we'd head back down towards the $52 support level. If that was to break, maybe this 200-day moving average would hold as support as well. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching high quality trades, and I'll see you guys. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.